What's going on, guys? It's DG back with another video. Today, going to finally give you guys my performance review on the Nike GT Cut 2. So let's get right into it. Starting with the traction is Smear 1.0. I believe this is the first time we've seen a Nike basketball shoe use this Smear technology. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I personally have never used it before. And the main standout is this middle forefoot pattern that has really deep grooves that is basically herringbone. Indoors, these were solid. These weren't great, these weren't bad. I played with this shoe on 2 different courts, both of which are pretty okay. One of which that I keep mentioning is the court that Nightwing, aka Wear Testers Chris, used to play on. But that court recently got like a renovated surface or touch to the floor. So it's still really old, but they basically like put some coating on it, which made it a little bit better. But the problem with that court is that it's a school court at a high school. So they basically have class in there and people don't wear basketball shoes in there. They just, you know, whether it's band or dance practice or volleyball or whatever, or PE class, people are just wearing whatever they wear outside in there. So it's still not a good floor, but this shoe performed pretty well. I wouldn't say I slipped at all. The issues with this shoe come later, but I would say the traction indoors is solid. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. It's nothing too crazy. It is not as good as the GT Cut 1s, but it still is pretty solid. You're not gonna have too much squeak in these, although you will get some squeak as you would with most traction patterns. I did take these outdoors simply because the cushion is insane and I like to test shoes fully. And I felt like this shoe could be a contender for outdoors. Traction is pretty solid outdoors, not much wear and tear. It is really dirty, but not much wear and tear. This pattern in the middle will last you a pretty long time because it is really deep and it is pretty firm. So overall for traction, I would give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, not as good as the GT Cut 1, but no really slipping issues or anything like that. Moving on to the cushion. So the highlight of this shoe is definitely the cushion. The cushion consists of a full length React insole that is drop-in, so you can actually take this out. And then below that is a full-length Zoom Strobel unit. And the cushion setup is much better in terms of comforts and plushness than the GT Cut 1. It is really, really high off the ground a little bit. So if you are used to the GT Cut 1, then these will feel a lot different for you. The best comparison for this cushion setup that I can give is that this is a low top GT Run. It literally felt like that to me. The cushion in the forefoot is absolutely insane. And the drop-in insole in the forefoot is actually a little bit beefier. I don't know why, but it is beefier, or at least to me, it felt beefier. So in the forefoot especially, there is a little bit of a bulge that is very, very subtle, but you can really feel the cushion there. So the pros for that is that it is very comfortable and it helps you with bounce a little bit, impact protection at the forefoot, etc. But the cons for that is that the court feel and the guard movements that you're supposed to perform in a shoe like the GT Cut, which is specifically made for guards, is not there. So I would say the court feel is not good because the cushion setup is just insane. But if you are looking for comfort, then this is a great cushion setup. The highlight for me for the cushion setup is just running straight down the court on a fast break or something like that. Like this really propels you forward. When it came to doing like stuff that I would do in the regular GT Cuts, like, I don't know. This shoe, the cushion setup is just too insane for those movements in my opinion. If you're a heavier player, then you probably would like the cushion setup a little bit more than someone like me. But overall, that's my thoughts on the cushion setup. The fit of the shoe, guys, is true to size. They feel really secure, but the way they play is not secure. And so let me talk about the fit, support, and lockdown all at the same time. So the fit is true to size. It is really comfortable. The lockdown is just something else because the laces don't connect to the tongue. And so I just felt a little bit unstable in these because the tongue is just not connected to anything. And like, I can just put the tongue like that so you can't even see the tongue. And basically when I was playing, I had to readjust, you know, and move the tongue so that it sat in the middle. So I did not like that at all because in my mind, I just felt like there wasn't a lot of padding like in the middle where the tongue is supposed to be because it just kept moving around. That leads me on to basically the support. And the support of this shoe is really odd to me because I actually had 2 incidents that I did not like in this shoe. The first one was that I was on kind of driving right and was doing like a step back kind of for the mid-range shot, but my foot actually almost slipped out of the shoe. And that was the first time that when I've been performance testing that I've actually experienced my foot and my heel slipping out of a shoe. Not even in the KD15s, which actually have heel slip. So that is a red flag. The second incident is when I actually like almost rolled my ankle in these, and it actually hurts to this day. So I was doing kind of a jab step on my left foot, and I was basically like on this shoe right here, this is my left shoe, I was doing a jab step forward where I would like, you know, jab step forward to get some space, and it actually tipped over way too much, and I hurt basically like where the front of my ankle. So that was a first time for me because I've never experienced that in a shoe in my years of performance testing and wearing basketball shoes. I'm not really injury prone. I've never really sprained an ankle or hurt myself too bad. The stability, lockdown, the fit in this shoe, the fit is true to size, but I'm just not high on the support or lockdown. Lockdown could be better, and the support overall, I just didn't feel confident making those moves, especially after my foot almost slipped out of the shoe. And then second, almost after like I felt like I almost broke my ankle because I was doing like a forward jab step. I feel like I put too much torque in the shoe, or maybe like I don't know, maybe my playstyle is just not for the GT Cut 2s because I never really experienced that. And this is probably one of my first reviews where I'm actually being negative, but I'm just giving you guys how I actually feel about the shoe. And the plus side so far is that it's really comfortable. That's what I can say. And overall, guys, like the fit is true to size, again, like I keep saying, but as a wide footer, as a flat footer, I felt like some sort of breaking in process, burning sensation that usually happens within, you know, the first 2 hours of the shoe, but it kept continuing. So I'm just not sure if it's due to the shape of the shoe, the silhouette, the mold. It also curves a little bit inwards, as you guys can see at the toe box right there. So my foot probably just is not meant for the shoe. I think if I were to ever wear this shoe again, it has to be just walking around. I can't really perform how I want to perform in this shoe. That is my thoughts on the overall fits, the support, and the lockdown. Moving on to the weight of the shoe. The weight of the shoe is lighter than the GT Cut 1s. It is really light, so I do like that about the shoe. But when you start thinking about the support, the lockdown, and the fits, and those holistically put together, like the lightweightness doesn't necessarily matter, because if you're not feeling locked in, if you're not feeling like you can perform moves in this shoe, then you're not going to like it that much, even if it's lightweight. So those are my thoughts on the GT Cut 2. I think these are a good shoe if you are a little bit of a heavier player, which is actually insane to say, because this shoe, GT Cut, the marketing, the press, the Nike basketball team markets this as a guard shoe, but I honestly think like if you're a bigger guy, like maybe in the league or like in college or something like that, like you would like these more because you're able to sink down into the shoe a lot more than I possibly could, because the cushion setup is just insane. I think like the forefoot is super comfortable, but it's not as low to the ground as the GT Cut 1s. Even if you're not thinking about the GT Cut 1s, this cushion setup in the forefoot is like the best that I've felt in a basketball shoe this year. It's better than the LeBrons, it's better than the KD15s in terms of pure comfort and plushness. I think this shoe is great if you're just shooting around, if you're doing like a high intensity workout. I think for me personally, in the way that I play, I wouldn't wear these in a competitive game, and that's how I really like to assess basketball shoes, is if I would wear these in a competitive game on an NBA floor. If all the external factors were met, if I was in an NBA floor, if I was, you know, feeling good that day, like what shoe would I put on? And this shoe did not make the cut for me. But overall, I do like how this shoe looks. I think this shoe looks great. It actually reminds me of a running shoe, Kobe AD. Like this shoe looks good in my opinion, and it's super comfortable. So I would walk around in these Although I probably will return these to Nike because they are pretty expensive, almost 200 bucks, 170, 180 or something like that. Will I get more colorways? Maybe, if there's a really good one coming out. I do like the upcoming black and stone one that has been leaked. It's just not a shoe that I would play in. I think like I would play in it only if I was doing like a low intensity, high intensity workout, shooting around, you know, doing sprints on the court, or doing like an on-court individual workout. This is a great shoe for taller, heavier players, but for guards, I probably would not recommend this shoe over the other things that I've reviewed on this channel and that I've wear tested, or even that's on Nike.com, Adidas.com, whatever, right? So I do like this shoe, but to me personally, it doesn't make the cut, and I personally wouldn't hoop in these in a competitive game. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys think of the GT Cut 2s. Have you played in them? What are your thoughts on them? Do you guys agree? Again, these are my personal opinions, so please keep that in mind. Follow me on all my socials at DG Hoops. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.